Now we will discuss noun phrase here, and we know that there are different kinds of phrases. I will just list down some phrases now. We have noun phrase, then we have something called as gerund phrase, and then we have prepositional phrase or prepositional phrase, whatever you may call it. So, and then we have something called as appositive phrase and so on. Now, why do we give the name noun phrase? Why gerund phrase? Why a prepositional phrase? Right? The noun, the name that the phrase gets is from the head of that phrase. Every phrase has a head. Head basically means the most important element. The most important element. You can guess that yes, this is the most important element of the phrase, and that we call as the head. And this head is basically what gives the name to the phrase, which is the most important element of the phrase. It is this head that gives the phrase its name. So in a noun phrase, the most important element is the noun. For example, take the word politics. Now we all know that the word politics is a noun, right? So you could say politics is a noun. We all know that. Politics is not my cup of tea. The noun is politics, which is also the subject of the sentence, right? So politics is not my cup of tea, and politics is basically the subject of the sentence. It's a noun, right? So if I add a certain modifier to it, this might become a noun phrase. Here we have done that. The election year politics is indeed a dirty business. So politics is a dirty business. The election year politics is a dirty business. The noun phrase the election year politics is the subject of the sentence, right? This whole is the subject of the sentence. What is indeed a dirty business? The election year politics is a dirty business. So we all know that politics is not good, or politics is not my cup of tea, right? Here you have politics as the subject, is as the verb, and politics is not my cup of tea, right? You will say election year politics is beyond my comprehension, right? So what is beyond your comprehension? Election year politics. So a subject could be a single word like politics, which is the noun. A subject could be a noun phrase which has the main element as the noun, and it has other set of modifiers along with it, and that is what we call as a noun phrase. A noun phrase thus has modifiers. So it has a noun, it has modifiers before it, it has modifiers after it, right? These modifiers are optional. They may be there or may not be there, right? Politics is not my cup of tea. You have only one word, politics, right? You can have election year politics, right? So you can have election year politics. Election year politics is not my cup of tea. Election year politics by some people was dirty, right? So you can say last year. You can say the election year politics of some politicians is indeed a dirty business, right? So you can say the election year politics. You have the election year as the modifier coming for the noun politics. The election year politics of some politicians is indeed dirty. So you have one more modifying phrase after politics, and that is a prepositional phrase, right? So you have a noun phrase which itself has a modifiers within it. So how is a noun phrase usually? It looks like it has a noun which is the main element. Before this you might have some modifier. After this you might have some modifier, and that becomes a noun phrase. We'll take some examples and how a noun phrase actually behaves in a sentence. So here a noun phrase could be a subject of a sentence. We have seen it in the above example, right? We have seen that the election year politics is not my cup of tea, right? So here what is the subject of the sentence? What is not my cup of tea? The answer is the election year politics, or simply election year politics. Here the entire thing is the noun phrase, because the key element is the noun for politics, and election year is the modifier, and this becomes basically the subject of a sentence. So a noun phrase can be a subject of a sentence. India's current economic weakness is a result of high oil prices. right? So what is a result? So you go like this, you ask a question, what is a result of high oil prices? And the answer you get is basically India's current economic weakness. What is the main element? The main element is weakness, which is basically a noun, right? India's current economic weakness is a result of high oil prices. If you change this weakness and make it plural, weaknesses, then you will have India's current economic weaknesses. You will have are, because you have changed the main noun from singular to plural, right? So India's current economic weakness is a result of high oil prices, or India's current economic weaknesses are a result of high oil prices. The noun phrase India's current economic weakness is the subject of the sentence, with the noun weakness as the head of the noun phrase. This is the head of the noun phrase, right? The others are modifier. This is basically a possessive modifier, and current, economic basically are adjective, right? And just as a noun phrase can be a subject of a sentence, it can be an object of a verb as well, right? I ate the 5 ripe shiny apples, right? So you can say uh, I ate the mangoes, right? So you can have your I ate the mangoes. So I ate mangoes simply. I ate mangoes. Here, mangoes is basically is the object of the verb ate. Instead of mangoes or instead of apples, you can have something phrase, right? So it says I ate, and what did you eat? The 5 ripe shiny apples. Apples is the main substance here, the main noun, and the others are modifiers. This is the article, this is the number, adjective 5 modifying the noun apples, ripe and shiny are adjectives modifying apples. So apples is basically the noun, and these are all modifying elements of the noun apples, and this is the whole as is basically a noun phrase. So just as you have a noun acting like the object of the verb or the subject of a sentence, you can have a noun phrase acting like a subject or an object, right? It can also be a subject complement. One day I will become what? The greatest orator on the planet. I will become an actor. Fine. So I will become an actor. I will become what? An actor. So the subject is being complemented by an actor, or you can say I will become the greatest actor on the planet, the greatest orator on the planet. So what you have, orator is basically the key element, the noun, right? And that's why this is a noun phrase. And this noun phrase further has on the planet, which is a prepositional phrase, and it has the adjective greatest and the article the. So this is it, this entire thing is a noun phrase. Within this noun phrase you have a prepositional phrase modifying the noun orator. What kind of orator? The greatest orator on the planet. The noun phrase, the greatest orator on the planet, is the complement of subject I, with the noun orator as the head of the noun phrase. The orator is the main element, and therefore we call it as the noun phrase, right? So we have seen different kinds of noun phrases, and noun phrases can be a subject of a sentence, object of a verb, they can be subject complement, and they can have many other roles to play, right? These are just a few of them that we have seen. Let's go and take the other phrases.